This is a fishing revolution in Burkina Faso, a landlocked nation on the edge of the Sahara. Hundreds of miles from the nearest ocean in the heart of a conflict zone, its people are pulling millions of fish from the dust. In the Sahel, where the sun cracks the earth, an abundance of fish was once unthinkable. Yet in Burkina Faso, one of the world's most water-stressed countries, the impossible is now a mandate. How does a nation battling insurgency with over 2 million displaced citizens suddenly produce enough food to feed its population 1.2 times over? It sounds like fantasy, but it is a $1.16 billion gamble. This is a story few have heard: a nation that equipped 600 tractors, not with foreign debt but with its own gold, a nation that shut off a $400 million export market just to reclaim sovereignty. This is how Burkina Faso rewrote its future.
And people now start to believe in the country. Wow. Before, we want to move to any other country because we feel like our country was like hell, going to hell. But nowadays, we feel even the hot weather, we don't feel like it's not hot anymore. It's good for us.
But as we peel back the layers of this success, we find a haunting paradox. In the exact same year, this nation celebrated a record-breaking harvest. Over 1 million of its citizens were still standing on the brink of acute hunger. This isn't just a story about farming fish in a desert. It is the story of a radical economic experiment called a second independence. To understand how they did it, and the dangerous statistic they are hiding from the billboards, we have to follow a $35 million financial leak that was slowly killing this country from the inside out. For decades, the world looked at Burkina Faso and saw a prison of dust. It is a place where the sun is a relentless hammer, and where water has always been treated as a finite, disappearing miracle. Despite its reputation, Burkina Faso is actually sitting on an untapped network of freshwater resources. The country holds over 2,000 reservoirs and dams encompassing roughly 200,000 hectares of freshwater spread across its river basins. For generations, these reservoirs were used for basic survival, like drinking holes for livestock or emergency water during the blistering dry season. They were never seen as factories. Official data suggests the nation possessed the theoretical potential to produce more than 100,000 tons of farmed fish every single year.
In addition to this project, there are other initiatives, such as the large-scale fingerling production and stocking program. I am convinced that within a few years, we will no longer need to import fish. We will be able to meet the national demand in terms of fishery products.
You have to look at the man standing in the center of Burkina Faso's dust, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. While the world saw a nation trapped by drought, conflict and poverty, he saw something else. A fishing empire waiting to be built where almost nobody believed it could exist. When Traoré came to power, Burkina Faso was spending millions importing fish every year. To him, that wasn't just an economic problem, it was a symbol of dependence. So instead of accepting the country's geography, he declared war on it. His government launched an aggressive aquaculture campaign, unlike anything the Sahel had seen. Millions of fish fingerlings were released into reservoirs. Hundreds of floating fish cages appeared across the country. Taxes on fish feed were eliminated. New feed factories were built. State-backed hatcheries expanded production. Every policy pointed toward one objective: make Burkina Faso feed itself. But the most remarkable part wasn't the fish. It was how he chose to pay for the revolution. For supporters, this is a blueprint for African self-reliance. For critics, it is an ambitious gamble unfolding in the middle of a war. Either way, one fact is impossible to ignore. Behind Burkina Faso's remarkable fish revolution stands a man determined to prove that a landlocked nation does not need an ocean to become a fishing power. But wait, the rivers and lakes you see across Burkina Faso are not always what they appear to be. In a country known for drought, desert winds, and one of the harshest climates on Earth, some of the most important sources of water are not gifts from nature, they are creations of human engineering. These are artificial rivers, man-made reservoirs, and massive dams built to capture the few months of rainfall that arrive before the Sahel quickly returns to dust.
There are heavy seasons involved. It's through our system that we're able to put these dams back into operation. People will produce during the rainy season, they'll produce all year round, and they're very happy about it. And they also have drinking water through Wanaye, thanks to these dams for drinking. And we're going to keep going like this.
For generations, these giant water systems were treated as simple survival tools, places where communities collected water for livestock, small farms, and emergencies during the long dry season. Almost nobody saw them as something bigger. They were reservoirs of survival, not reservoirs of opportunity. But that began to change when Burkina Faso started asking a different question. What if these artificial lakes were not just storing water, but creating wealth? What if a dam built to fight drought could become a factory producing food? What if a reservoir surrounded by dry desert land could become a center of agriculture, fishing, and economic activity? One of the clearest examples is the Bagré Dam, one of the country's largest water projects. By controlling the flow of the White Volta River, engineers created a huge reservoir that transformed the surrounding landscape. Land that once depended completely on unpredictable rainfall became connected to irrigation systems, allowing farmers to produce crops beyond the short rainy season. The same water body also created opportunities for fishing and aquaculture, turning a man-made lake into a source of income for thousands of people. This is the turning point of the investigation, taking us away from the rural farms and into the deep, heavily guarded gold mines of the Burkinabe earth. In most developing nations, if you want to build $1 billion agricultural infrastructure, you follow a predictable script. You fly to Washington or Brussels, you secure a loan from the World Bank or the IMF, you accept their stringent structural conditions, and you spend the next 30 years paying it back with interest. Burkina Faso's military government, led by Captain Ibrahim Traoré, tore up that script. They decided to fund their tractors with gold. In 2024, gold revenue stood at 548 billion CFA. To put this in perspective, over the entire 5-year period, between 2017 and 2022, the country distributed roughly 1,400 tractors in total. In 2025, they deployed nearly half that amount in a single campaign. This is what the government calls the sovereignty model. No foreign debt, no structural adjustment programs, just raw gold converted into food security. But even with gold and an army of machinery, you still have to face the brutal reality of the Sahel. How do you keep millions of fish alive in a climate hot enough to boil open water? Farming fish in a semi-arid desert isn't a miracle, it is an engineering hack tailored to one of the harshest environments on Earth. The strategy focuses heavily on 2 specific species, the Nile tilapia and the African catfish. The Nile tilapia is a biological survivor. It is highly resilient against fluctuating water quality, tolerates high temperatures, and reproduces rapidly. In just 4 to 7 months, a tiny fingerling can grow to a marketable ½ kilogram. The African catfish complements this, offering a high-density protein source that fetches stable market prices even when seasonal vegetable markets crash. From a land once considered too dry for fishing, Burkina Faso has shown that innovation can create opportunities where many saw only limitations. This journey is far from over, and the future of desert aquaculture is still being written. For more stories of remarkable transformations around the world, subscribe to Awoken Today.